Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Mandeep from JNTU Amritsar. Today we are going to talk on the module SMEs, that is Small and Medium Enterprises, and its feature from the paper Business Environment. After the completion of this module, you will be able to understand meaning of SMEs, features of SMEs, the growth and role of SMEs in India, to know the policies framed by the government regarding the functioning and growth of such units. You will also be able to understand the basic problems being faced by these SMEs, and we will also have a look on the 4th All India Census of MSME. Now this micro, small and medium enterprise, which is now the name MSMEs, they have emerged as a highly vibrant and dynamic sector of the Indian economy. Over the last 5 decades, small and medium sector has become the vital constituent of India's gross domestic product and even the export earnings. These enterprises not only play a crucial role in providing the large employment opportunities at comparatively lower capital cost than the large industries, but also help in industrialization of the rural and backward regions, thereby reducing the regional imbalances, ensuring equitable distribution of national income and wealth. So these SMEs play a catalytic role in the development of any country. They are basically the engines of growth in the developing and transition economies. In India, these SMEs account for a significant proportion in the manufacturing, export, employment, and also they are basically the major contributors to gross domestic product. Small and medium enterprises are complementary to the large industries as ancillary units, and this sector contributes enormously to the socio-economic development of the country. The small-scale sector covers a wide spectrum of industries which are categorized into small-scale industrial undertakings, ancillary industrial undertakings, export-oriented units, even the tiny enterprises and small-scale service enterprises. And another category is artisan, village and cottage industries, and nowadays women entrepreneur enterprises are also emerging. Definition of small and medium enterprises. In the year 1977, units having investment of less than rupees 10 lakh were defined as small-scale industrial undertakings, while for ancillary units the investment limit was rupees 15 lakh. The units having the investment of less than rupees 1 lakh were defined as the tiny enterprises. In 1991, the year in which the economic reforms were initiated, the definition also changed. The investment limit for the small-scale industries was rupees 60 lakh, and for ancillary units it was rupees 75 lakh. As far as tiny enterprises are concerned, rupees 5 lakh investment was decided. Consequent to the enactment of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act, that is MSMED Act 2006, the small and medium sector was defined as micro, small and medium enterprises with effect from October 2, 2006. Now the new definition was given for the enterprises like for manufacturing enterprises, a micro enterprise where the investment in plant and machinery does not exceed rupees 25 lakh, a small enterprise where the investment in plant and machinery is more than rupees 25 lakh but does not exceed rupees 5 crore, and the medium enterprise with the investment in plant and machinery is more than rupees 5 crore but does not exceed rupees 10 crore. Now, as far as the service enterprises are concerned, a micro enterprise where the investment in equipment does not exceed rupees 10 lakh. The small enterprise will be where the investment in equipment is more than rupees 10 lakh but does not exceed rupees 2 crores. And similarly, a medium enterprise will be one where the investment in equipment is more than rupees 2 crore but does not exceed rupees 5 crore. Let's discuss the features of these MSMEs. Small scale industries play a very important role in the economic development of any developing or underdeveloped country, especially. These industries meet the twin needs of society, namely the solution of unemployment problem as well as checking the economic concentration in the hands of a few. These enterprises encourage self-sufficiency, self-reliance and coordination. In the light of various benefits of SMEs, some of the characteristics are like the first one is employment generation. Small and medium scale enterprises create huge employment at the local level. The sector absorbs excess labor from agriculture sector, thus reducing the problem of rural or agriculture disguised employment, thus raises overall productivity. Labor capital ratio in small scale industries is generally higher as compared to the large scale industries, so that one unit of capital generates more employment in the small scale as compared to the larger scale industries. Secondly, industrialization and growth. Small and medium scale industries are easy to establish. Their number is usually very large. These firms promote industrialization and contribute to economic growth through the production of wide variety of goods and services. Because of this contribution, most of the governments maintain institutional arrangements and facilities and incentives in the area of finance, infrastructure, production, and marketing for their growth. Third important characteristic of the MSMEs is low gestation period. Small and medium enterprises projects take much less time in their completion as compared to the larger enterprises. The period is low basically due to easy availability of capital and labor. Moreover, government assistance, facilities and incentives help in keeping the length of the period low. Due to low gestation period, the project involves low degree of risk. Another important feature is low level of capital. Since SMEs require relatively small amount of investment, these are capable of being set up under sole proprietorship and even the partnership form of business. Banks are also willing to extend financial support to them because low level of investment is required by them. Easy availability of labor. The skill requirements for opening SME units is not much sophisticated. Machinery in most lines of production is easily available in the open market. Skills are also commonly known and available. Easy availability of skilled workforce provides a good ground for the growth of entrepreneurship in the SME sector. Then comes full utilization of local resources. Most of the SMEs have local area of operation. These firms provide demand for locally produced raw material, which is both cheap and easily available. A large number of industries choose their location according to the local availability of inputs. As local materials are used as inputs, the problem of excess supply, low price and wastages are reduced. This backward linkage promotes the production of local materials. Better industrial relations. Since units are small in size, the employer-employee are in close contact, often leading to better understanding of their interpersonal relations. This promotes industrial peace, which further reduces strikes, labor turnover, layouts, etc. So good industrial relations are important for steady flow of output and efficiency in production. Forward linkages. Small scale units not only have backward linkages causing the development of raw material supplying activities, but they have substantial forward linkages too. A large number of small enterprises exist as ancillary units of large-scale industries, producing a range of raw materials, intermediaries or components for them. So the industries like automobiles, bicycles and textiles depend heavily upon the number of small units for the supply of the components. Personalized customer service. Another important feature of SMEs is that it provides an environment in which management is close to its customers. So this closeness and acquaintance with the customers makes it possible to better serve the specific or customized needs of the customers and to respond to their suggestions and complaints. While large business attempts to provide a personal touch with the customers, the results are seldom very successful because the employees may not recognize their value or may not be motivated to cultivate close and personal customer relationships. Next comes contribution to exports. With the establishment of large number of modern small-scale industries in the post-independence period, the contribution of small-scale sector in export earnings has increased. It is observed that major exports of India consist of ready-made garments, sport goods, leather goods, processed food, and large number of engineering goods. As per 4th All India Census of MSMEs, 46,675 enterprises reported to have undertaken exports. Out of the same, the share of micro enterprises was substantial at 85.83% and share of small enterprises was 12.75% and the same for medium enterprises was 1.42%. Growth and performance of these SMEs in India. There are over 6,000 products ranging from traditional to high technology items which are being manufactured by MSME sector. Besides providing the wide range of services too. The 4th All India Census of MSME 2006-2007 estimated the size of MSME sector for the first time, taking the data from the multiple sources. So this size was estimated at 361.76 lakh and 105.21 lakh as compared to 3rd All India Census of Small Scale Industries 2001-2002 in terms of estimated number of enterprises. The estimated employment generated in the sector was 805.24 lakh as compared to 249.33 lakh in 3rd All India Census. So the growth recorded during the year 2001 to 2006-07 in the manufacturing sector was 22.46% and 18.49% for the estimated number of enterprises and employment respectively. For the service sector, the growth rate in estimated number of enterprises and employment recorded was 31.21% and 34% respectively during the period 2001 to 2006-07. Table 1 shows the growth of SMEs in India in terms of the number of units, the production and employment from the period 1991-92 to 2012 and 13. The SMEs have shown a rapid growth over the year. It can be seen from the table. This could be possible due to conducive policy environment during the liberalization era, that is post 1991. Adequate economic infrastructure is one major factor that affects the performance and competitiveness of small industry. It is to overcome the infrastructure deficiencies faced by the sector, particularly in the rural backward areas, and to strengthen the linkages between agriculture and industry, that the government introduced the Integrated Infrastructure Development, that is IID scheme in 46 centers in 1994. This IID scheme proposed to contain developed sites, power distribution network, water, communication, that is telecommunication, drainage and pollution control facilities, roads, banks, raw materials, storage and marketing outlets, common facilities and technological backup services. So the government's efforts definitely helped in enhancing the growth and performance of these SMEs. Moreover, MSMEs function in a highly competitive environment and require an enabling environment to sustain growth. So well-rounded fiscal support, a strong policy framework and incentives promoting innovation by financial institutions can significantly increase the penetration of formal financial services to the MSME sector. Based on the results of 4th All India Census of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, the estimated value of manufacturing output and GDP has shown in the following table. So this table explains the contribution of manufacturing output of MSMEs in GDP. Has been shown from year 2006-2007 to 2011-2012. It is very clear from the table that the gross value of output, which is given in crores, is increasing continuously. Even the total manufacturing output that was 42.02%, that declined to 37.52% in year 11-12. Similarly, gross domestic product, which because the share of MSMEs in gross domestic product, it was 7.73 in 2006 and 7, then increased in the next year, then decreased in 2008 and 9, because even the total manufacturing output decreased. So now in 2011 and 12, this was shown as 7.28. The primary responsibility of promotion and development of MSMEs is of the state governments. However, the Government of India supplements efforts of the state government through various incentives. A large number of steps were initiated by the Government of India for the development of small and medium scale firms. NSIC, that is National Small Industries Corporation Limited, was set up in the year 1955 to provide machinery to small scale units on hire purchase basis. Moreover, it also assisted small units in procuring orders from government departments. Small Industrial Development Organization, that is SIDO, was set up in 1954. It functions as an apex body in the formulation of policies for organized growth of small scale industries. The program of district industry centers was introduced in the year 1979. The main aim was to establish one agency in each district to provide assistance to small firms for credit guidance and other necessary help. For providing financial assistance to small firms, even the SIDB, that is Small Industrial Development Bank of India, was set up in 1989. Till now, SIDB has satisfactorily contributed in credit disbursement to small and medium enterprises in India. The Small Industrial Development Bank of India Act 1989 envisaged SIDB to be the principal financial institution for the promotion, financing and development of industry in small scale sector, and to coordinate the functions of the institutions engaged in the promotion and financing or developing industry in the small scale sector. The major activities of the SIDB are refinancing of loans and advances, discounting and rediscounting of bills, granting direct assistance and refinancing of loans, and providing services like factoring, leasing, etc. to the small firms. New small enterprise policy, which was initiated in 1991 at the time of LPG. The government announced this policy package for small, tiny and village industries in August 1991 with the basic objective of imparting more vitality and growth impetus to this sector. There was various kinds of measures which were announced during this policy, like the investment limit for the tiny units was raised from rupees 2 lakh to 5 lakh. In addition, while earlier industry meant manufacturing only, the new policy widened the scope of the term industry by including service and business enterprises. In this 1991 policy, it provided for equity participation by other industrial units in the small scale units, not exceeding 24% of the total shareholding. This was basically done for the mutual benefit of all kinds of units. This provision not only relieves the small units from the burden of full equity funding, but also builds up the stakes of large units in the survival and growth of small units. Another important feature of this policy was the introduction of new legal form of organization of business, namely limited partnership. In this form, the liability of at least one partner was unlimited, whereas all the other partners had the liability limited to their invested capital. In this policy, the government proposed to meet the entire credit demand of the small and tiny units. The policy envisaged market promotion of small and tiny sector products to be undertaken by the cooperatives, the public sector institutions, and other professional agencies. It was also proposed that the scheme of integrated infrastructure development for the small industries should be there. Reason being to facilitate the location of the industries in the rural and backward regions, and also to promote the stronger coordination between the industry and agriculture. When they will be in the rural and backward areas, agricultural units will also help them. And moreover, the scope of the National Equity Fund scheme and single window scheme were enlarged. This Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act 2006, what is this? This act was notified in 2006 to address the policy issues affecting MSMEs as well as to prescribe investment ceiling of the sector. The act seeks to facilitate the development of these enterprises and to enhance their competitiveness. It provides the first ever legal framework for recognition of the concept of enterprise, which comprises both manufacturing and service entities. It defines medium enterprises for the first time and seeks to integrate the three tiers of these enterprises, namely micro, small, and medium. The Act also provides for a statutory consultative mechanism at the national level with balanced representation of all sections of stakeholders, particularly these three classes of enterprises, and with wide range of advisory functions. Establishment of specific funds for the promotion, development, and enhancing competitiveness of these enterprises, notification of the schemes or programs for this purpose, progressive credit policies and practices, preference in government procurements to produce to the products and services of the micro and small enterprises, more effective mechanism for mitigating the problems of delayed payment to micro and small enterprises. So on May 2007, subsequent to an amendment to the Government of India, that rules 1961, the Ministry of Small Scale Industries and Ministry of Agro and Rural Industries were merged to form Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. This ministry now designs various policies and promote programs and projects and schemes and monitors their implementation with view to assist MSMEs in their growth and development. Now let's discuss about the general problems of the small and medium scale enterprises, as every enterprise has certain problem. The very first problem relating to the small scale industries is the financial problem. As the scarcity of finance is a main obstacle in the development of SMEs, the profit earned by them is often not enough for the investment purposes. So banks are mandated to provide 40% of the lending to the priority sector like agriculture, small scale industry and other small businesses. Although banks have met the priority sector lending targets on the papers, the reluctance to lend to SMEs continues on account of various reasons. That is, the low recovery rates from the small firms, more opaque as far as disclosure of information is concerned, and higher cost of lending to the small firms, along with they are unable to provide the collateral security. Hence, finance is all the more very important for small scale firms in the fast changing knowledge based economy because of the speed of innovation. So, innovative SSIs with the higher growth potential have played a vital role in raising productivity and maintaining competitiveness in the recent years. But the innovative products and services, however, need investment to flourish. If SMEs cannot find the financing they need, the brilliant ideas they're having may fall by the wayside, and this represents a loss in potential growth for the economy. The second problem is inadequate management. There is statistical evidence that the caliber and experience of the management are the most important factors influencing any business success or failure. Small business management's vulnerability to failure is most often attributable to the enterprise incompetence and lack of previous management experience. So, an owner of the small business must be an expert in many areas of operation, whereas large companies can employ experts for the procurement, finance, marketing, and other functions, respectively. A very serious problem which MSMEs are facing is a labor problem, because every growing small business often needs to hire additional managerial personnel. However, many entrepreneurs have a difficulty in attracting the qualified managerial talent. Labor problems spoil the environment of work, reduces productivity, and causes disruption to the production. These problems also account for fall in quality and increase in production cost. Next comes information needs about supplies and shortages. Sometimes, rather every time, the business do not have the sufficient knowledge of supply constraints in the economy. Once SMEs start the business, they may be interested in knowing about the suppliers of specific machinery that suit their needs, the technical information, and the market trends for the products. This information is rarely available. Hence, small firms have to face inflationary problems which lead to squeezing of profit later on. Infrastructure development is a very wide problem small scale enterprises are facing. Here, the remarkable portion of the population lives in villages, and many rural areas still suffer due to the deplorable state of basic infrastructures like transportation, telecommunication, and electricity. The integration of rural industries with the mainstream industries is proving to be difficult for these reasons. So this has been identified as a key deterrent to the growth of SMEs clusters in rural areas. The small scale business personnel are facing a very serious problem that is relating to the marketing problem. Historically, small business has encountered problems in gaining access to market. The Indian SMEs are facing a lot of problem related to the marketing of the products in the national and international area. This is mainly due to the fact that these organizations belong rural or semi-urban areas where the resources are easily available to them and cheap labor is also associated with it. But when it comes to selling of the products, the small firms have to face a difficulty in creating an impression and awareness in the minds of urban and other potential buyers as far as the quality and related aspects of the products and services are concerned. Lack of technology. Technology plays a crucial role in the development of SMEs. Technology not only helps in making the long-term strategy but also helps in maximizing business opportunities for small industries. Technology for SMEs should aim at fueling innovation and business needs. Today, most of the SMEs in rural areas undertake manufacturing using the old methods and outdated technology. But today, the competition is fierce. Unlike in the past, when the buyers are simply looking forward to purchase the best products at the lowest prices. New product development. The SME market requires a strong new product development base. In India, most of the SMEs work on the designs required by the domestic buyers, that is, the customized designs. There's very little innovation in product design development, and even the technology used by these SMEs in India is outdated, which has a direct effect on sales and profits of these firms. Problem of sickness is a acute problem SMEs are facing. This is because there is existence of large number of sick units which are non-viable, and even the government is thinking of rehabilitation of the potentially viable units, which is one of the costly proposition. It involves rescheduling of the past overdues with concessions on interest amount due, additional credit for the modernization and technological upgradation and provision of fresh working capital. There are certain exogenous factors also which create problem for the growth of SMEs, and they are beyond their control. Main adverse factors are infrastructural bottlenecks, stringent lending policy of the financial institutions, government control on the prices and distribution, burdensome taxation, swings in government policy towards SMEs, and competition from the large enterprises. Now let's talk about a little about the fourth All India Census of MSME sector. This National Board for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises was established by the government under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act 2006. It examines the factors affecting the promotion and development of small and medium industries, reviews the existing policies and programs, and also makes the recommendations to the government in formulating the future policy and programs for the growth of this sector. Prime Minister's Task Force on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. The task force under the chairmanship of Shri T.K. Nair, then Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, was constituted on 2nd September 2009 to reflect on the issues raised by the associations and to formulate an agenda for the action after the discussion with the stakeholders. The members included the Member Planning Commission, secretaries of the concerned government departments, Deputy Governor of RBI, Chairman and Managing Director of SIDBI, and the representatives of the various associations. Now, the basic highlights of 4th All India Census of MSME sector shows that there was a public procurement policy for goods produced and services rendered by micro and small enterprises. This policy mandates that every central ministry or department or public sector undertaking shall set an annual goal of procurement from micro and small enterprises from the financial year 2012-13 and onwards, with objective of achieving an overall procurement of minimum of 20% of total annual purchases of the products produced and services rendered by micro and small enterprises in the period of 3 years. Another major step was the establishment of National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program, that is NCP, with the objective to ensure healthy growth of MSME manufacturing sector. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module of small and medium enterprises. It is clear that the role of small-scale industries is an effective instrument for creating employment opportunities within the limited range of capital requirement. It has been realized that in all the developed and developing countries, that the SMEs, that is small and medium enterprises, directly help the nation to develop their economic stability. The threat to small and medium industries have multiplied in the post-reform period. Reason being that because of the liberalization, because of the privatization and globalization, many new industries came into our country, especially in the form of investing funds, in the form of investing technology, and by having the industries. So that was the basically new threat. And moreover, we can say that the import liberalization also increased as a bigger threat. So this competition from the large industry and MNCs and inability of the small industry to keep pace with them because of their advanced technology, rising consumer expectations, this particular industry or this particular sector has come into the threat. Most of the SMEs support programs and incentives are being unutilized due to the lesser efficient management and complicated procedures. We know that our government at the central level and the state level, they are making so many policy in order to upgrade this sector, but still it is not being properly utilized. The state support system must be simplified to make it relevant and convenient to the small firms. The small scale industrial units on their part have to make the new strategies to cope up with the competition and must try to seek new relationship with the medium and large industry. Reason being, small scale units and the large scale units, if they work together, they will equally help in the economic development of the country. Thank you.